What happened? Hi, my name's Sydney and I'm 19 and this is baby Jaden and he's 4 months old. Today I'm going to be talking about my labour and delivery story of this little guy. He was born the 25th of August 2019, so if you want to see that, just keep on watching. So I was due August 22nd, 2019. I went into labour on the 24th of August. My day started out like any other day. I went to some sports games to support some family, and I've been having like period crampy kind of like a band of pain around my stomach and back all day, but I didn't really think anything of it. Just I was 40 weeks pregnant, so you know, you're kind of expected to be in pain. Then later that night at 9 p.m. my waters broke. I was just sitting on the couch with my partner and I just felt something. I ran to the bathroom immediately. It wasn't like as disgusting as I thought. It was just a lot of water and it just kept coming. So that was fun. Then we called my not my midwife. My midwife was off call this weekend, so we called my backup midwife and we just let her know what had happened, and she told us what's going to happen from here and what to do and all that jazz. So we called family and stuff, let everyone know that we're going to have a baby. And then me and my partner just hung out for a bit, watched a movie. I didn't start getting contractions until about 30 minutes after my waters had broken, and they were really, really fine at first. Probably for the first maybe half an hour to an hour. Then me and my partner decided to try and go to bed and get some sleep because we knew it was going to be a long night. I honestly could not sleep at all. I tried, but by this point my contractions were really bad and they were coming every 2 to 5 minutes and they were very, very painful. So I just walked around for a bit and tried to like move and sit and figure out how to get comfortable, which I just couldn't. At about 11:30 we called the midwife again because my contractions were coming every 2 to 3 minutes very consistently, and she said, okay, go to the hospital. So we did. The drive to the hospital honestly wasn't that bad. I've heard like a lot of people say that it's really painful and horrible, and honestly contractions are just painful in general. I don't think that the drive made it any worse. Anyway, so we get to the hospital, we get checked in, the midwife met us there. They did an examination once I got there to see how far along I was, and I was only 1.5 centimeters dilated. So they wanted to send me home, but before they did, they wanted to do some tests just to check on everything and, you know, all that jazz. I was already there, so they may as well. They felt around to see what position he was lying in, and he was head down, which was good, but he was back against my back, and the ideal position for labour is back against your stomach. So all it means if they're back to back is it gives you a lot more back pain in labour, and it can be harder for them to get through your pelvis just biologically with how it fits together. And also from the way that he was lying is what caused my waters to break first, because most women, their waters break when they're actually pushing in labour. Then I went to the bathroom and I'd noticed some like brown liquid. So I called the nurse in and she checked it and she said that it was meconium. This is getting very TMI. Anyway, which is basically where the baby poos inside you, which is very pleasant. It's really not that bad. All it means is that the baby's in distress. So because of that, they decided to keep me in and monitor me through the night. Yeah, so then they put one of those big heart rate monitors on my stomach to monitor his heart rate. It did keep decreasing with every contraction I had, which was not good. So they put an internal heart rate monitor on his head just to get a better reading of his heart rate. Duh. And in terms of pain, I was really not coping with my contractions. So I got the gas, which I was huffing like there's no tomorrow. Pretty much every contraction I had, I was using it, and it didn't take away the pain at all. All it did was make me focus on my breathing, especially, and it did take the edge off towards the end of my contraction. But the beginning of my contraction, I think I just kept timing it wrong, but I could always feel the beginning of my contraction really, really strong. And then they also gave me pethidine, which again didn't take away the pain. It just made me quite drowsy and meant that I wasn't sleeping, but I was able to rest my eyes between contractions through the night, which I wasn't able to do before because I was just really uncomfortable. So then everyone left. Me and my partner tried to get some sleep during the night, and they came back in at about 5 or 6 a.m. and did another exam. And by this point I was 6 centimeters dilated, which meant that I was in active labor, and they asked if I wanted the epidural. I said hell yes. So they brought the anaesthetist in and they gave me the epidural. It's a big needle that goes into your spine, and they're telling you to sit still while they're putting a needle in your spine while you're getting contractions every 2 minutes, and all your pain meds have worn off. And you've only got the gas to try breathe through this. So that was fun. They told my partner to sit down because apparently it can make some men faint because they get more scared of it than the people actually getting the epidural, because I couldn't see the needle but he could. So once I got the epidural, it was like a godsend. It completely took the pain away for me. It worked amazing. I couldn't feel a thing. It really did numb everything, and it allowed me to actually get some sleep, which I had pretty much had none of in the past 24 hours. So that was really great. It meant that I could like build up my strength for when I had to start pushing. Ow, you got mummy's hair. Give it back. Give it back right now. Let go. Give mummy's hair back. Give mama's hair back. Then we had lots of family coming in and so we had lots of family coming in and out all morning. We hung out for a bit. I got some sleep. So then I came back in at 9 and they said that I was 10 centimeters dilated and that we were going to start pushing in an hour. So I got some more sleep. It was 10 o'clock, they came back in and they said, alright, we're going to start pushing. So all of our family left the room. It was just my partner, me obviously, a nurse and a midwife in the room with us. So we started pushing. It was very painful. However, I would say that the contractions were the worst of it. My epidural was pretty much so worn off by the time I'd started pushing, because you have to be able to feel what you're doing. So I would say that the contractions were definitely a lot worse than the pushing. To be fair, I didn't push them out, so I mean, it's probably not the most accurate representation of what was and wasn't worse. And I was probably pushing for about close to 2 hours, and I just could not get them out. I was really struggling. I was in a lot of pain. His heart rate kept dropping, and it just was not happening for me. So they said, okay, emergency cesarean. So they prepped me, took me down to theatre. They numbed from my chest down with the epidural, so I couldn't feel a thing from here down at all. And then I remember the doctor leaning over and like saying to me, do you want us to do one last exam before we open you up, basically? And I remember being very, very out of it. I was very groggy from all the drugs and exhaustion. And so I just kind of looked at her and they were like, okay, we're going to do an exam. So they did another exam, and whilst doing the exam, they'd said from the 2 hours of me pushing, I managed to push him right down into my pelvis. They could see his head. He was right there. I just couldn't actually push him all the way out. So they said, okay, scrap that, we're not going to do the cesarean, we're now going to do an episiotomy and use forceps to get him out. So an episiotomy is where they do a cut to make the opening bigger, and the forceps are these surgical tongs that they use to yank him on out. So from them telling me that that's what they're going to do and them doing it, he was out and on my chest within minutes. It was so fast, and I remember it being like this awesome moment. My partner was right next to us, but I felt really, really nauseous, and I was going to be sick on him, so I said, you have to get him off me, I'm going to throw up on him. So they took him off. They gave me some drugs for the nausea, which kicked in straight away. So they took him away, they cleaned him up, they cleaned me up, they did all of the tests and stitching and all that fun stuff. Then once we were all sorted, they took us to the recovery room where it was just me, my partner and him for a little bit, and I tried breastfeeding. And then they took us up into the maternity. Then they took us into the maternity ward where all of our family could come visit, and they did. There were a lot of people. Everyone wanted to have a hold and a nosy and all that fun stuff. And then we stayed at the hospital that night, and then the next day we went to a birthing centre where they could just be a lot more hands-on. There were a lot less people there. It was not as loud. They had a double bed so my partner could stay. And we hung out there for 3 nights, and then we came home. So he was born on the 25th of August at 12:58 p.m, so middle of the day. He was 3 kgs and 49.5 centimeters tall. And his name's Jaden, obviously. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more, please like and subscribe. I'll be posting every week. And me and this little guy will see you next time. Say bye. Mwah. Mwah. You give mama kisses. Mwah.